Hola amigos, and welcome to Simps Anonymous. We are a 12-step program to help recovering simps regain their stability in life. And I'm the head of the recovering simps. If they had written a handbook back in, say, the 1970s, when I became interested in women, into the 80s, and then late 80s when I started thinking maybe I want to get married, if they'd written a handbook called the Simps Handbook to Failure, 100 steps to becoming the perfect simp, I bet you I accomplished close to 80 of the 100. So I know of what I speak of. And I say all this jokingly because, well, I'm not joking, because I do consider myself a recovering simp. But I got to thinking, you know, have you ever met a person in AA? I mean, I'm not talking about the people who go there to stop drinking for a couple of weeks or because the judge ordered them to 30 meetings. I mean, I've met these people. One of my best friends has got 40 years of sobriety from AA. And the thing I noticed about AA people is if you go up to them and say, you know, I have a trouble, I have problems drinking, they will sit down and they will explain to you how to overcome that. And they will share with you their past and their hurts and the destruction they brought upon themselves. They'll be very open and honest. What you don't see, now, you might find this among people early into this program, but what you don't see is these old AA guys running down the streets, preaching at people, or running in and out of bars and telling people to put down their drinks and to change their ways and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't happen. Why? Because they realize this is a program of attraction. That's what the manosphere is. At least that's what it kind of is to me. It's a law, not the law of attraction. It's based on attraction. People will either come and listen to what you have to say, and you can help them with your past hurts and failures and things as a man in the manosphere, or as I'm very willing to admit, a recovering simp, and how I overcame that and how I'm continuing to keep my sanity by not falling back into simpism. And that's harder than you might think. I mean, when you've been programmed that hard, just like probably somebody who's been an alcoholic for 20 and 30 years, you can't just stop. You have to change the entire way of thinking. You have to reprogram your mind. And that's what a lot of this is about. That's why I recommend philosophies, and I'll recommend books along the way, because I'm like, you got to download some new software if you want to recover from being a simp. And it's a difficult process. The programming is deep. Even though it's a program that began to fail, not really even with us baby boomers. It began to fail prior to that. It's just people didn't get divorced as readily. There was no philosophy behind it. The thing was, you just don't quit. You just hang in there till the bitter end. And that's what my parents did. They just hung in there till the bitter end. But there was some kind of benefit from it. There was some level of stability, something comfortable they got from it. See, but we don't have that anymore. We've been stripped of that. The advantages to home and hearth, family and marriage, whatever advantages they were, and they must have been, because it's been this way for tens of thousands of years, there must have been some benefit. It's just not there anymore. So our old programming kicks in and we try to create something that no longer exists. It's just an illusion, guys. Just an illusion. And it's kind of like being an alcoholic, from talking to my friend who was obviously, he was a heavy drinker and drug user and got sober in his mid-20s and has been that way for 40 years. And he will explain that, you know, there was something comfortable. It was an old friend he could go back to, even after it began to fail him, really in his late teens and early 20s. Not only fail him, but derailed his life. He continued with it for several more years until he realized this doesn't work anymore. It's a made-up fantasy that pounding back a quart of scotch is going to make it better. It's a made-up fantasy for us simps, our recovering simps, that if we run out there and find a new relationship and try to step in and be the hero of our own story, we find out it's not true, because it isn't our story. It's their story. We just become a footnote. We become a character actor in their story. So when we sit back and say, okay, I can no longer live with this addiction of simpism, I can't save anybody, then you start to realize, you know what, there is nobody to change but myself. There's no one to change but myself. We don't need to go out and preach our MGTOW ways, our manosphere ways. It's going to be brought in by attraction, and the focus should be on ourselves. If everybody focused a little bit more, as the old saying goes, you know, make your own bed first. Biblically, why are you looking at the splinter in my eye and not looking at the log in your own eye? Let's take the time to pull out, I got that backwards, didn't I? Let's take the log out of our own eyes. And that's a full-time job. Just trying to fix ourselves and reprogram our own minds and all that stuff. That's a full-time job. And you know what? When you become a little bit better of a person, when I become a little bit better of a person, when we become better men, then the world is just a little bit better. But we have to break away from our old addiction. We have to accept that the bottle of scotch, the failed relationships, these aren't going to fix anything, guys. And this is about breaking away and getting into a recovery. That's what this is all about. This is not about preaching new philosophy. It's not about bringing new religion. It's not even about making major changes in the world around us, because that can't be done. But what can be done, I can make a major change in my little world. And that's what I've decided to do. And that's what I share with you guys. Anyway, I know not everybody is interested, because I've got a video out there. I was really surprised. I had a video out there, it's got 1,000 hits. I don't have 1,000 subscribers. That means most of the people who watched it didn't care for my my content. And that's okay. Most people don't stick with AA either. You know? And so we put it out there. People get something out of it, or they don't. Take what you want, leave the rest, as my AA buddy says. Guys, life is hard. Don't make it any harder than it needs to be. Keep it real, and adios.